Welcome to World Prism. Please subscribe and hit the bell icon for more breaking updates. In late 2025, American dinner tables are more than just places for families to gather. They've become battlegrounds for a new kind of food fight. Every meal is shaped by the shifting tides of the economy, and the choices people make at the grocery store reflect much larger forces at play. Grocery aisles across the country have turned into the front lines of a complex economic drama, where shoppers are forced to navigate rising prices, changing product availability, and tough decisions about what to put in their carts. At the center of this storm are soaring beef prices, which have reached record highs, and a surprisingly resilient chicken market that's become a lifeline for many families looking to stretch their budgets. The actions of major players like Tyson Foods, along with new policies from the Trump administration, are shaping the landscape in real time, influencing what ends up on America's plates. The U.S. cattle herd has shrunk to its smallest size in 70 years, a dramatic decline that's led to a nationwide beef shortage and sent shockwaves through the entire supply chain. On top of that, government policies and unexpected disease outbreaks have further strained the already fragile supply, leaving shelves emptier and prices even higher. In response, President Trump has launched investigations into meat packers for alleged price fixing, promising to hold companies accountable and restore fairness to the market. The administration is also considering a significant increase in beef imports, a move that could reshape the industry and spark fierce debate among ranchers, companies, and consumers alike. Tyson Foods, one of the nation's largest meat producers, finds itself caught in the middle, struggling to manage soaring cattle costs in its beef division, while trying to adapt to rapidly changing market conditions. Yet, as more Americans turn to chicken as a more affordable alternative, Tyson's poultry business is thriving, helping the company weather the storm and meet the needs of cost-conscious shoppers. Understanding this tangled web of supply, demand, policy, and corporate strategy is key to making sense of what's happening at the checkout counter and around the dinner table in 2025. A year when every meal tells a story about the state of the nation. In 2025, rumors swirled that Trump's tariffs were forcing Tyson Foods to halt U.S. production, but Tyson's CEO, Donnie King, publicly debunked these claims, stating tariffs had no material impact on their beef, pork, or chicken segments. The real challenge for Tyson isn't tariffs, it's the historic shortage of cattle driving up costs. Tyson's diversified business model has helped it weather trade policy changes, focusing instead on supply chain issues. The company's beef division struggles with high input costs, not taxes on imports. Viral stories blaming tariffs miss the mark. The true culprit is a domestic supply crisis years in the making. Tyson continues to operate, adapting to a market where raw material costs, not tariffs, pose the biggest threat. With beef prices at record highs, President Trump has made the issue a political priority. He's launched a DOJ antitrust investigation into the Big Four meat packers, alleging possible price manipulation. Simultaneously, Trump is negotiating to increase beef imports, including talks to lower tariffs on Brazilian beef. These moves sent cattle futures tumbling as the market braced for cheaper foreign beef. The administration's approach is complex, targeting corporate power at home while seeking foreign supply, even if it risks undercutting U.S. ranchers. The pressure is on to deliver relief to consumers, even if it means challenging previous trade stances. Tyson Foods' 2025 financials reveal a company split between success and struggle. Overall sales are up, driven by strong performance in chicken and pork, while the beef division faces steep losses. Chicken is the star. Operating profits soared 28% as consumers traded down from beef. Pork also delivered steady growth, offering a budget-friendly alternative. But Tyson's beef segment is in crisis. Cattle shortages have driven up costs, forcing price hikes that still can't offset losses. Beef sales volumes have dropped, and the division posted a $94 million loss in the September quarter. Tyson expects even greater losses in beef for 2026, highlighting the industry's deep divide. Beef prices have hit historic highs, driven by the tightest U.S. cattle supply in over 70 years. Years of drought and high feed costs forced ranchers to shrink herds, creating a fundamental scarcity. Meat packers like Tyson now compete fiercely for fewer cattle, pushing prices up the supply chain. Between July and September 2025, cattle prices surged 85%, making beef unaffordable for many. Ground beef and premium cuts have become luxury items, forcing families to rethink their grocery habits. As beef prices soared, consumers turned to chicken, driving up poultry sales. This shift isn't just temporary. it's a major realignment in the American protein market. The poultry industry is thriving as a direct result of the beef crisis. When you see beef prices at your local grocery store, it's easy to think they're just about cattle and ranchers, but the reality is far more complex. Those prices are shaped by a web of government policies, international trade agreements, and even the threat of livestock disease outbreaks. Behind every steak or burger is a story of decisions made far from the meat counter, in government offices and at international borders. In 2025, a screwworm outbreak in Mexico forced the U.S. to close its border to cattle imports, abruptly cutting off a vital supply of live animals. This wasn't just a minor hiccup, it meant that thousands of cattle that would have entered the U.S. market were suddenly unavailable, sending shockwaves through the entire beef supply chain. The USDA, responsible for protecting American livestock, announced that the border would remain closed until Mexico could demonstrate full control over the infestation. This decision removed hundreds of thousands of animals from the U.S. supply chain, creating a sudden shortage and putting pressure on both prices and producers. To fill the gap, the Trump administration turned to Brazil, a major beef exporter. Imports from Brazil surged, even though a steep 40% tariff made this beef more expensive. Still, the need to stabilize supply outweighed the cost, and Brazilian beef began appearing in American supermarkets in greater quantities. Now negotiations are underway to lower or even remove that tariff, which could make imported beef cheaper and more plentiful. But this prospect has unsettled U.S. ranchers, who worry that increased imports will undercut their livelihoods and change the dynamics of the domestic market. Every policy move is a delicate balancing act, protecting livestock health, managing the nation's beef supply, and trying to keep prices reasonable for consumers. Officials must weigh the risks of disease, the needs of producers, and the demands of shoppers all at once. Disease prevention and trade policy aren't just abstract concepts. They directly affect what's available and affordable at your local meat counter. When borders close or tariffs change, you see it reflected in the price and selection of beef. While increased imports can offer short-term relief for consumers by keeping shelves stocked and prices stable, they also risk undermining domestic producers who face new competition and uncertainty about their future. Ultimately, every policy decision, whether about disease control, trade, or tariffs, sends ripples through the entire supply chain, shaping not just the economics of beef, but what ends up on your dinner plate. For shoppers across the country, all these economic and environmental forces are converging to impact one thing that hits close to home: the cost of putting food on the table. Whether you're shopping for a large family or just yourself, you've probably noticed your grocery bill creeping higher, and it's not just your imagination. The prices you see at the store are shaped by a complex mix of supply chain disruptions, weather events, and global market shifts. Beef, in particular, will remain expensive for the foreseeable future. Years of drought and shrinking cattle herds mean it will take a long time for ranchers to rebuild their stock. Even as conditions improve, the process of raising cattle is slow, so don't expect beef prices to drop anytime soon. As a result, many families are already shifting their habits, choosing more chicken and pork, which are still more affordable and widely available. These meats offer a budget-friendly alternative for protein, and shoppers are getting creative with recipes and meal planning to stretch their dollars further. Chicken production is ramping up to meet this growing demand, with poultry farms expanding operations and processing plants working overtime. Meanwhile, beef and pork output are set to decline, leading to fewer options and higher prices in those sections of the store. On top of that, the outcome of Trump's antitrust probe into the meat packing industry and ongoing tariff negotiations could eventually affect prices at the register. However, these changes won't happen overnight. Policy shifts and legal battles take time to play out. If tariffs on Brazilian beef are reduced, shoppers might see some relief at the checkout counter, but this could also spark new debates about the future of U.S. ranching, food safety, and the balance between supporting local producers and keeping prices low. The big takeaway: food prices are shaped by a tangled web of climate change, international trade, animal disease outbreaks, and government policy. Each factor can send ripples through the market, affecting what you pay at the store. For now, the best way to manage a tight grocery budget is to stay flexible and shop smart. Favoring chicken and pork, using coupons, and taking advantage of grocery apps can help you stretch your dollars further until the market stabilizes.